Hello, good evening to all. As per the last session, we have seen or learned about the first stage of Rostow's economic growth, that is the traditional stage, traditional society. Now, today we will learn the how to take off from this traditional society. This is considered to be the second stage, that is the preconditions for takeoff. We can say that this is from traditional to modernization. It can also be pointed out as a transitional era in which the preconditions for sustained growth are created. The preconditions for sustained growth were created slowly. Say, for example, in Britain and in Western Europe from the end of 15th century and in the beginning of 16th century, when medieval period was at end and the modern age is to begin. The preconditions for takeoff were encouraged or initiated by four forces that are the new learning or Renaissance, the new monarchy, the new world, and the new religion. Generally speaking, it led to new discoveries and inventions and consequently the rise of the bourgeoisie. The preconditions arise not endogenously but from some external inventions. Some external inventions, say for example, the preconditions ended in Europe with the domination of Napoleon Bonaparte, whose victorious army set in motion new ideas and attitudes which brought about changes in the structure of traditional societies and paved the way for the unification of Germany and Italy. Okay, this is the background as how the preconditions set off. Now, the in any case, the process of creating preconditions for takeoff from traditional society needs some requirements. Say, for example, education, new types of enterprising. Education means for some at least broadens and changes to suit the needs of the modern activity. New types of enterprising men come forward in the private economy, in government, or both, willing to mobilize savings and to take risks in pursuit of profit to modernization. Banks and other institutions for mobilizing capital appear. Investments increase, notably in transport, communications, and in raw material, in which other nations may have an economic interest. See, according to Rostow, for having radical changes, there need three types of sectors. First, a buildup of social overhead capital. Listen, a buildup of social overhead capital. especially in transport, in order to enlarge the extent of the market. Second one, technical revolution in agriculture, so that the agricultural productivity increased to meet the requirements of a rising general and urban population. The third one is an expansion of imports, including capital imports, financed by efficient production and marketing of natural resources of exports. Okay, this is about the preconditions for takeoff. I think you might have understood it clearly. Now, let us come how the takeoff takes place. We have studied the preconditions, in what stages these preconditions are established, are formed, and what are the necessities for successful of these preconditions, succession of these three conditions. And now, how the takeoff takes place. What is this takeoff? Let us take a look. This is the third stage. The takeoff is the great watershed in the life of a society when growth becomes its normal condition. Forces of modernization contend against the habits and institutions. Rostow defines it as an industrial revolution, means takeoff is an industrial revolution tied directly to radical changes in the methods of production, having their decisive consequences over a relatively short period of time. Students, here he imposes on short period of time. Short period means how much time? Yes, this short period lasting for about 2 decades. You might have remembered the fourth stage is the drive to maturity. Drive to maturity takes more than 2 decades, but this takeoff takes about 2 decades. The takeoff period is supposed to be short, lasting for about 2 decades. Rostow has given some tentative takeoff dates for some countries. Say, for example, Great Britain 1783 to 1802, France 1830 to 1860, Germany 1850 to 1873. In India and China this is 1952, like this. And there are some requirements for this takeoff. And as we know, as this takeoff takes place, industrialization begins to occur. Workers, institutions become concentrated around a new industrialization, industrialist society. There are some requirements. Let us have a look. Requirements means 3 requirements that we can have. First one, a rise in the rate of productive investment from say about 5% to over 10% of national income. Second one, the development of one or more substantial manufacturing sectors with a high rate of growth. And the last one, third one, the existence or quick emergence of a political, social, and institutional framework which exploits the impulses to expansion in the modern sector and gives to growth an outgoing character. Okay, this is the session about the second stage, the preconditions for takeoff, and the third stage, the takeoff. In this takeoff, we have seen what the takeoff means, and what is the short period that it takes. We have seen the examples of some countries, how industrialization, mobilization takes place, and what's the time that short period they had taken. And for the succession of this takeoff, the requirements that we have seen, at least 2 to 3 requirements are there. Okay, in the last session, in the next session, we know the fourth and fifth stages, the drive to maturity, and the last one, the age of high mass consumption. So okay, read and uh, read thoroughly and understand first, second, and third stanza. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot.